Hey everybody, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. I'm your brow expert because I've been shaping eyebrows for, almost 25 years at the Anastasia Beverly Hills Salon. And I have met some of you guys. You guys come, gotten your brows done, trusted me with the eyebrows. So thank you for that. It's been great meeting you. And please come by. If some of you guys have been wanting to come by, you need to come and make your appointment. And I will love to shape your eyebrows. So today's brow is all about trying to find your arch, bring up the eyebrows. This model I'm going to show you, she doesn't have much of an arch. It's actually more flat. Of course, I use myself as a model as well. I put a lot of concealer over my old brow tattoo. You guys also know that by now, right? So if you want to know a little bit more about the brow tattoo world, the pros and cons, if your tattoo has changed color, what to pick, please scroll down. I do have some videos I posted about that very issue. So getting back to the flat eyebrows. Now, I've titled this video as the brow bone structure that does change the eyebrows. If you guys probably already know about your brow bone. If you touch it one side to the other, it's definitely different, right? And our facial expressions changes our eyebrows. So that's another reason why it's so uneven, right? But we're going to try to make it as even as possible, not perfect, but helping you map out the eyebrows to get that little lift, but also just mainly to find your arch. So are you ready to see this model? So as I've said, I've titled this as the bone structure changes everything. It really does. And as we age, ladies, we all know that one side of the eyebrow just changes more so than the other. And so what do? You map it out, of course, and try to fill in those areas with the power of makeup. So right here, I'm showing you how flat the eyebrows are, kind of like the way I've just shown you on my eyebrows. So, and right up there, the bone structure over there goes out a little bit, whereas the other side doesn't come out as much. That also contributes to why her brow kind of kicks up a little bit. So when I always say pinch of the nose straight in an angle over the iris, I always mean right here, that's the pinch. And when I say over the iris, you know, like that dark pupil, that corner, that is where your arch will be. So it's kind of on the outside, and always know that it's not in the middle of the eyebrow. We don't want that arch to go up this way. You want it more on the angle. So that is your arch. I'll make a quick little example on myself. So again, I like to just use the back of a spoolie brush. You can use a chopstick, whatever you can get. And again, pinch of the nose, and it's going right over my pupil, okay? But I usually say iris, right here. See that angle? It's not here. It's right over here. And that is where I'm going to make my little mark. And I always make a little mark because you know what? That you can use that as kind of a guide as well. You don't need to erase that. So again, right over here, and right over my pupil. I think I'm going to start saying pupil, right? No, I don't know. It sounds just a lot easier to say iris. But I think you guys know by now what I mean. So here I'm using the Dip Brow Pomade. For her, I'm using the medium brown. On myself, I'm going to use a darker color. It's ash brown. Well, actually, it's not darker. It's more ashier. So there's not as much, or if not any, red in there. So I need more ashy tone. She needs a little bit more of a warmer tone. Now, I grabbed a tiny bit. As you can see earlier, I just grabbed the size of a pea. You don't need much. Now, if your dip brow gets really dry, I highly recommend our hydrating oil. Now, Anastasia has this beautiful hydrating oil. You just need a tiny bit of drops, maybe like 1 to 2 drops, if I could get it out of the vial here. 1 to 2 drops right in the pod right here. And then let it sit for like overnight. It'll soften up. I promise you it'll work great. It has an oil slip to it, but it dries to a matte. So it doesn't stay oily. You don't want that. So that's why this is a perfect product. It's not just for dip brow though. It's also good for cuticles. I love it. It's great hydrating oil. Okay, so now I'm going right over that eyebrow area, right? And just very, very little, you guys. You don't need much, as you can see right there. That is the arch. Now on the model, I didn't leave that little mark on there, but I'm going to leave it on myself so you guys really know to leave that mark for yourself. It just helps a lot, okay? So again, it's right at that dipped area. I'm going to use my hand. You can also use your hand to move the brow, the dip brow pomade, that is. And so that also can loosen up the product because the warmth of your hand can make the product a little bit more pliable. Is that a word? Yes, it's a word. Okay, so just easy to move around. So you want to make sure you go back and forth so the brush is nice and sharp. And I'm just going to go from I don't go up in the front. You notice that I went in the middle, right? Right over there, right in the middle. And so I'm just going right here and then right up this way, okay? Right up to that mark and then down a tiny bit. And then as you can see right here, I just pulled it down and filled it in. Again, my brows are gonna look really dark and weird, but because of that concealer underneath. And so, but look at this. Do you notice already the difference from this to that? It already lifted my eyebrows, gave a fuller look to the eyebrows. And even for herself, just that little area makes the biggest difference. Now, if you don't have eyebrows that are that low and dip that low like hers, but you can still use some height, that's still a good technique to use. I still use a little bit, still apply some color just a little bit underneath, but not much. Make sure you create some color on the outside corner there, not below, but outside above, because it just keeps up with that brow lift. If you guys don't know that already about me, I use the word brow lift all the time because you know what? This is the easiest, cheapest way to get yourself a brow lift. When you apply color above the eyebrows, it just kind of lifts everything up. Okay, so again, look at this eyebrow and look where all the color is. And very important, when you apply that color and go up to the top of that arch, you want to move some of that color up in the front. Because when you move it up in the front, you still get some color up there, but not as much because remember, most of the color on the brush now has come off and it's getting lighter and lighter. So you don't have a ton on the brush, which is what you want. So as you get up in the front, it's much lighter, but you still deposit some color. So I just kind of lightly go over. I do have some hair up in the front. So I just lightly go over that. I don't go crazy and put a ton up in the front because my main focus was that little dip up there. That is my main focus, but you always want to brush the brush down. And so you cover the inside like I showed you with the model. Now, if you put that in there, it's going to blend in. If you use a brow gel, which is very important, it combs the brows up like I showed you with her. Look at the difference on this model, the before and after. Big difference, right? It just almost looks like, I mean, you can still see from the before with the ones that I didn't do how low it still is, but she actually has an arch right there, or more that end going out, but that dip up in the middle. But just raising that middle part just opens up the eye. Makes such a big difference. But you know what? The other important thing I want you to get out of this is that the brows are fuller, but not in a just, oh, it's just big and full. It doesn't make any sense. It's fuller for her, and that's the most important thing. You want the brows to be full for you. I always prefer a fuller eyebrow, but please note that it's not always about just getting as full as possible, or it's about getting as full as possible, but it's not about getting it thick and wide. It has to fit your face. And if you always have it or try to go a little fuller than you have, just a little bit, that alone is going to make it a big difference. So, and that is what I want you to take away, aside from just going up there. I hope that tip helped. And look at that. That wing is right there. See that difference from this to this? I'm looking at myself going, wow, that really is, I still surprise myself. That really is a big difference. So thank you so much for sticking with me with this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I promise you I will try to get out as much content as I can. When I get a brow model that has very thin eyebrows, I almost always want to use them. But of course, I need their permission. So stick with me, stay with me, and I hope that I give you guys as much help as I can. Please let me know if I have already. And thank you so much. I will see you guys next time. Thank you.